Hello and welcome to our presentation on our database mockup project. For our project, we chose LinkedIn. Our group consists of myself, Thomas Groh, along with Ethan Larson, Harrison Baker, and Joshua Frankie. So first, a brief overview of LinkedIn as a company. It was launched on May 5th, 2003, with a mission to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. Their vision is to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. They were acquired by Microsoft in December 2016 for $26.2 billion, and currently they're headquartered in Sunnyvale, California. LinkedIn has 630 million registered members and is ranked 28th most popular website on the internet. So LinkedIn offers a variety of products and services. The two most important are the social network and job board services. The social network is for professional networking, linking professionals to each other based on their jobs or their interests or their education. The job board aspect of the service offering is for recruiting and job searching, and that allows companies to find job candidates and for job candidates to find companies that they want to work for. LinkedIn has a few revenue streams. One is the premium access, which users pay for, and that gives them a premium profile with extra options. Also, LinkedIn offers advertisements to companies who want to advertise on users' news feeds, or for those firms which wish to be ranked higher on searches. LinkedIn also offers a news feed and a blog to generate content for the users. For this project, we had database requirements that we were looking towards as we created the database system. And we decided on creating a functional database system that models the basic features of LinkedIn, including connections, profile information, company profiles, and job postings. In order to meet these requirements, the database had to have certain capabilities, and the most important capabilities are the user profiles, the company profiles, and the job postings. The user profiles consist of work history, education, and skills. Company profiles consist of job postings, company information, and the job postings consist of job duties, salary, the date of job post, and others. Also, the capabilities we wanted to include on this database include being able to record connections between users to get the social network aspect down, plus allowing for data mining for suggestions on user connections, targeted ads, and recruitment.
Okay, so let's begin with our conceptual model for our database. You can kind of see already it follows along with our profiles that we identified that we needed to break out. Let's start with user, which is in the middle. Each user needs a unique key. Ours is called user ID, and each user has a name, a first name, middle name, and a last name with a date of birth. Okay, so because this is a platform where users and companies meet and also connect with other users, the users would want to showcase their skills. Users can have one to many skills, and then we show a weak entity relation with our skills. So we would need to build out a skill table, and each skill would need a unique skill ID, which is our primary key, a skill name, and then endorsements. Users can endorse other users' skills, and that endorsement is a multivariate attribute. Let's go into education a little bit. So users would want to show that they graduated. Users can have 0 to many degrees, and they can also go to many schools for those degrees. So a user would graduate. We'd want to know the school's ID for a unique primary key. We'd want to know the school name. The users would graduate, so we'd want to know the graduation date, what they graduated in, what degree they got, and their GPA. Users also would want to showcase what roles that they've been in for their experience. They can be in multiple roles, and roles can be tied to many users. So each user would want to showcase their role, so we'd want to know the role name, their start and end date. And then next we'd want to look at our other profile, which is companies. There can be multiple companies, just like there can be multiple users. Each company would need a unique company ID, and then we'd want to know the name. So companies would also create job postings, and they can have one job posting or they can have many job postings. And they would showcase each position with a unique job ID. We'd want to know the posting date, salary, and job role. And then we'd also want to know what kind of duties. And again, that's a multivariate attribute. So let's go into the next slide. We're going to talk about our urinary relationship a little more. Users can connect with other users, and that's a many-to-many relationship, and that's how they build their network. And we'd also want to track their connection date. And the next slide on our logical model, we would want to start tying those relationships between the different tables together. You can already start to tell that user ID, that primary key in user, becomes very important as it ties to all the different connections. So if we start breaking it down, we can see a connection when people connect, looking at that urinary relationship. So we'd want a user ID, and then we'd also want a second user ID between those two connections, and then a connection date. Users can also list their certifications. So we'd want to know what certification they got, when they got it, and what the name of it was. And so we'd have to tie another certification list that users could choose from. Just like LinkedIn, they have some pre-populated certifications that you can choose. Users would also want to showcase their education. So we'd have to know, okay, where did they get their education from? So we'd need to know what school. So we'd have to build that out in another table using school ID as a primary key. The same goes for skills, where other users can endorse those skills and say, hey, this person actually did this. And we'd want to build out those skills in a skill list that users could choose from. Again, company would need a company ID, name, and then tie those positions back to where positions would tie, or position duties would tie into a position ID that a company offered. The next table, we'll look at the physical model. Again, user is kind of our hub for our database, where companies would list positions, and a user could say they worked certain roles before. They could also connect with other users. We showcase their skills from the skill list. We showcase user certifications, where they got their education, and any endorsements that other users would like to make on a user profile. Lastly, on the next slide, we'll start looking at our various tables, and we'll go into depth, and we'll try to showcase what makes LinkedIn and why it's a great database for us to try and mock.
All right, here's the user profile table. Now this is kind of the heart and blood of LinkedIn's model. Everything that we've presented so far somehow ties back to this, so that recruiters and people looking for jobs can find each other. You'll see that our user ID, which is our primary key for this table, is what we use to link to all these other tables. And then it goes back to our email, so that recruiters can then contact these user IDs. All right, and this table showcases how we make connections on LinkedIn as a user goes and wants to make a connection. This table's built as the other user accepts, and both user IDs are added into the table with the connection date. All right, here's a generic list of different skills that a user can add into their profile as they go in and they say, hey, you know what? I'm pretty good at this. I want to add this skill. They'll be presented with suggestions as they start to type in what they're good at, Java, Python, Excel, as well as thousands and thousands of others. And as they select that, they will be unknowingly taken to the next table, where they will have their user ID paired with a skill ID and an entry date along with that skill name. And this is really important because recruiters will then go through and they'll say, hey, you know what? I need someone of this skill. And when they do that, they complete that search, they'll be given the user ID and they can then link that back to an email or a contact information. Here are certifications. Much like the skill table, users can come in and say, hey, I'm certified in this or this or this, and they choose from this list. And when they do that, much like the skill table, they will be added to their username and a certification ID, so that then again, recruiters can look through this and they can say, hey, I need someone with this certification for a contract, and be able to find these users. Also on LinkedIn, there's a pretty hefty list of schools and universities that a user can choose from as they are entering in their experience. And when they do that, just like the other tables, there's an entry created where their user ID and the school will be combined into a table. Next slide. Along with a graduation date and GPA. And this makes it really nice for recruiters so that they can then come in and say, hey, you know what? I really trust schools in this area of a certain type, and I need someone with an MSBA. And they can query and return a list of users. They can then reach out and contact.
So then we move to the company section of LinkedIn. So it's important to keep track of companies because they show your experience. That's a big core part of LinkedIn. So we just decided to track company name. We wanted to keep it simple so we could show a lot of the strong functionality and relationships that exist in the platform. So of course, the user can list the company. So on the next table, we have the user role where they can tie a role to a certain company with the start and end date to show their experience. Similarly with companies on the next table, they can post positions. So we have a company ID, job ID, role, posting date, and salary. This allows them to post positions for people to apply for. And each position has multiple duties. In the next table, we show that, where you can say, this position has this many requirements, has this many things. It's a multi-valued attribute of that place. Finally, we have the endorsements table where we can say, we track who's getting endorsed, who's giving the endorsement, what skill is related to that, as well as the endorsement date. Once we got all these tables together, we wanted to show how they could be implemented with select statements. This is one way to show that. It shows the number of connections for a specific user. For Joe Hank, it shows he has 2 connections. Next, we have the count of skills per user. So it shows that John Smith has 4 skills, Lewis Clark has 5 skills. And finally, we have a select statement that looks at the number of open positions by company. It shows that Apple has 3 positions, Microsoft and Google have 0.
Thanks, Harrison. Next, we'll move to the future features, which we kept out of our database as it stands right now because of our limited scope of the project. But in the future, we would like to add subfields, a news feed, advertisements, notifications, messaging, interests, and sales applications. We imagine that these extra features will be put together by a set of tables relating different entities together with primary and foreign keys. We like the idea of a sales application which runs parallel to LinkedIn. While it's not on the same platform, it will leverage the LinkedIn social network. So in conclusion, we've successfully recreated the LinkedIn database. The system models the basic features of LinkedIn, including connections, profile information, company profiles, and job postings. In the future, we will add additional features, but they were limited from this project because of scope. And those features will increase platform capabilities and the overall value offering from the LinkedIn database. Lastly, this project has been very useful in building career-relevant skills associated with database development and construction. And we'd like to thank Mike Boyle, our professor, for a great class, as well as the listener. Thank you.
Thank you.